the Secret Service doing an interview or an interrogation, or in the real world now, I guess that is the real world, but after now, what are the social cues or psychological behaviors, body language, responses that people have before you take the polygraph test to know whether or not they're actually telling the truth? What are those few things that you would see? We talked about the body language. Are there other things that would happen, social cues or behaviors?
So it's interesting. Everybody would assume that the polygraph was the lie detector. Like you just ask the question, come on in, have a seat, Louis, let's hook you up. Did you steal when you were a kid? You know, did you steal that gum or did you steal that? And then it just tells me everything. And it doesn't really work that way. Like typically the lie detector is the person. So you sit across from a person, you have a conversation. And as we're discussing something, let's say you're applying to the U.S. Secret Service. We'll make you a recruiter.
Okay, give it to me.
And so we're asking you all these questions about your education, your background, drugs, whatever it is. And let's say I say to you, Louis, did you ever steal anything? And so now I look at, are there any shifts or any changes? Do you change the direction?
No.
People are usually not that obvious, but you can see something, you can feel it. It's also feeling people. I think that gets dismissed quite a bit, that it's not just see, hear, it's like, it's also, you can feel another human being.
Yeah.
You can, and it's intuitive, and we should allow that and listen to that more rather than shut that down. But it would be, if I would ask you that, I would hear the way you responded. Mm-hmm. Did you respond similarly to all the other questions the same way? Is your, let's say if I said, Louis, did you ever, I asked you all these other historical questions and you're like, no. And then I say, Louis, have you ever stolen anything? Absolutely not. So now something like that, as small as that, I may mark that. I was like, okay, he said no for everything else. But here he said absolutely not.
Interesting.
Why is it a bit more emphatic?
He cares more about either protecting something or that it actually isn't the truth.
Maybe.
And he doesn't want that to be out of
But I will notice that it's different. Mm-hmm. That you did something different. Even if you, no. It could be a very subtle thing. Or you might not give me anything. There's some people, and I've had those people where it's just like,
poker face all the way through.
Some people, but I don't want to say they're professional liars, but some people, would come in, especially if it was a criminal case, and they're guarding the truth really hard, and you have to try to figure out what that is. Or some people come in and it's, I swear to God knows I would never do such a thing.
On my grave.
Those are usually red flags unless it's a culture or a person who typically does it. If they always say, I swear to God, I swear to my mom, then it would be like, look, this is part of this person's natural language, or maybe in their culture, they refer to God quite a bit. But if it's not, and then you start doing that, then again, that's a red flag. So that's what you're really looking for, rather than we have some of these cookie cutter things. It's like, everybody does this, everybody does that. Now, are these things I'm talking about indicators? They are, but you may do them and I may not. Mm-hmm. I may do something else.
What do you do when you lie?
What do I do when I lie?
So we all lie at something, right?
We do. I do.
Small or big?
My husband's like, did you, have a donut this morning? No, I didn't have a donut.
What do you lie about the most? Professional or personal? And what in each category? Maybe
like if I'm mad. Because I have a pretty bad temper, so it's like, oh no, I'm fine. Yeah. And I'll because sometimes I'll know, I'm like, I have a temper. And sometimes I know I'm being irrational, and I don't want to open up a whole conversation. So I'll just be like, no, I'm okay. I'll leave it because I'll know it's me. I'm trying to think, what do I lie about? Maybe work, if it's a project I don't want to do. But usually that's what you have agents and managers for, because they do it for you.
Sure.
They shut it down for you. I'm trying to think. I mean, we all lie, but I try to keep it like, usually for me, it's like, because I'm like I like donuts and I like things, cookies,
Sweets.
I like things. So my husband's like a health fanatic. So he'll be like, how'd you eat today? I was like, oh, it was okay. Yeah. I was pretty solid, Oh, okay. So he'll know what I'm trying to say.
Is there such a thing as a person being radically honest all the time?
No, I don't. I've not come across that. But I think here's the thing. It's okay to lie because have you ever been very, very, very honest, maybe with a person and then felt afterward, you feel a bit exposed and you feel like, I wish I didn't share this much with this person. Afterward, you kind of have that remorse because we feel like it's a protection mechanism. I don't want to tell you everything about me. I don't want to be an open book. And so and it may not be a lie, so by omission. So in a meeting, if somebody's pitching me a project or I'm talking about something, I don't like it or I don't like the direction it's going, I may not say, I don't like this. I may say, thank you, let me think about that. Meanwhile, I want to say, no way, I'm not doing it. That's terrible. So that technically would be a lie. I'm like, you know what? Thank you. And let me think about that. Yeah. But I know I can't respond the first way. Shuts people down. That's why I feel like we hear people say no. Being able to say no to people more so because a lot of us have...
To protect your time, your space,
yes,
energy. Yeah.
And that's wonderful. But don't say no. Find other ways to say no. No is ugly. No is mean. No is hurtful. So I can say, thank you so much. I'll let you know. I'm not really sure if I'm able to. Let me think on that. Find alternative ways to let people down.
Why is that? Why not?
To preserve the relationship.
Because when you say no to someone, even if it's a friend, they might take it personally.
It stings. Right? Why are you saying no to me? Why do you have to say it like that? You can reject people in a thoughtful way, in a professional way. And it depends. Like, do you care about the relationship? And if you do, your hard no can hurt people's feelings. People become sensitive because you're rejecting them. And so I'm going to think of a different way to say no that's not going to impact you as much. It's really using language thoughtfully. So for example, you brought up lying. I love that. And you said, when I was a kid, I lied. So I would never say to you, Louis, you're a liar. Or Louis, you're lying to me. I would say, Louis, I know you're not being truthful with me. Louis, you're holding something back from me. Sounds different. So it's the same way with language. We throw our words out and we don't realize that they land on someone. Yeah. And so then we scratch our heads wondering, why did this conversation not go well? It's this person's the problem. When we don't have the ability to think about, how did I deliver this? So if it's a business relationship, that's important to you, but you want to say no to this, you want to think of a great way to say no. So we want to think about, how do we let people down without hurting their identity? Going back to identity.
Was there ever a time when you were interviewing or interrogating someone and you didn't believe them ever, but they were telling 100% the truth?
Oh my God, you just reminded me of this case.
You're just like, I know this person's lying to me, but at the end of the day, everything you said was pretty true or almost 100% true. It was such a simple case, and it was not even for a lot of money. It was an ATM scam. This man was going to ATMs and he was stealing money. Somebody would go in, use their credit card, he'd come from behind, take money. Very simple. On the ATM. Put him up with like a gun or something?
No. Just follow them in. There's these little skimmers that they put on top of the machine, so when you scan your card, that it would pick up your information as well, and then you could go. There's all these different scams. So, but when you go to the ATM, there's a camera there. It's got your full picture. Right. So I have a picture of this guy, my perpetrator. It's a picture of him. I see him, his face. He's wearing a hat. He's wearing a New York Knicks hat. And I was like, here's my guy. All right, I've got it. All I got to do is lay the picture on. So he shows up for his interview wearing the same New York Knicks hat. Wow. So I start speaking to him. I don't take out my evidence, right? Because I'm saving that. Because that's my.
You knew this is a slam dunk.
This is a slam dunk. I was like, and he didn't even steal a lot. $500. It was something
small.
I don't know how it landed in my lap, but it did. And sir, you took the money. No, miss. I swear to God, I would never do that. Sir, we have this. So I'm doing this with him for like 15 minutes, and this was a mistake on my part.
We have evidence. We have proof. We have. Video footage of you.
I'm giving him everything.
At the scene.
No, never me. And I pull out, I think I'm being slick, and I pull out my photo of him. Boom, right on the table. Who's that, sir? Right? And I'm sitting there, I'm all smug. I'm like, I got this guy. And he takes it, and he looks at it. He's like, Looks like me. Yeah, he looks like me. He's not me. I was like, what? That's you. He's like, it looks like me. That's not me. Same hat. New York Knicks hat. The guy
You're
showed
wearing
up
the
in the
hat right
same
now.
Yeah, no. And it was the craziest interview. And I remember it was for money. It was not for a lot of money. In fact, when it came to financial crimes that had to do with money, it was actually harder to get people to confess to those.
Why?
Less guilt.
Less guilt. They didn't hurt someone physically.
Yes.
They might have hurt them financially.
Yes. I'm at home. I'm sitting behind my computer. I'm in my fuzzy slippers.
Yeah.
Or even if I'm doing it at the ATM, I'm not stealing from you. I'm stealing from the bank.
Yeah.
But it's different when I walk by you and I actually put my hand in your pocket. It's different when I go into your home and I assault you.
Yeah.
So there's that level of guilt. But when it's money, and especially if you steal it from an institution,
Yeah, who cares?
zero
Yeah.
guilt. Those were the hardest to get. But yeah, that was my guy. I will never forget him.
So
That's why I
wait,
started laughing.
Was it him or was it not him?
It was him. We arrested him anyway because we had the proof. But it's always great it's always helpful to have a confession because it really just kind of seals everything. You've got the evidence. You've got this. The person said it.
But he never agreed to it.
No.
He said, looks like
nothing.
me, but it's not me.
No, same New York Knicks hat. Yeah, I don't know. I guess he's from New York. Who doesn't like the Knicks? He just nothing. And you could see his face. Yeah, looks like me. I got nothing from him.
Really?
Yeah.
So he never actually told the truth, but it was, in fact, him.
Who was him? I mean, we had evidence, we had prints, we had all that
Sure.
stuff. But yeah, no, he, to the end. Nope, not me.
Could you tell,
I couldn't tell.
you couldn't tell he was lying or not?
I couldn't tell. No, he was so believable. But I knew going in that he was my guy.
Right.
So that's why I was like, I know it's him, but it was just like stoic. And there's a moment I'm like, isn't that him? Right? They're so good.
maybe,
You're like,
yeah,
am I
yeah.
seeing this right? Turn the photo around. I'm like, no, it's him. No, this is you. So some people are that good. Some people are that good. Some people, and I think this was also somebody who committed a lot of crimes. And
He was used to it. He knew
he's
how to
used
get
to
out
it.
of it.
So certain people who lie a lot usually become better at it. Or they don't feel bad. They become better at masking it. You obviously have a great conscience, and so it bothered you, and so all your tells were shown. You couldn't
Yeah, it's
conceal
like your heart
it.
is bumping, like your chest is tight, like your throat is clenching. You're like,
It bothered you,
Yeah.
which is a healthy thing. It's actually a healthy thing when it bothers you. We tend to see in people who have sociopathic tendencies or antisocial tendencies, those people don't tend to be bothered. And so they can lie and can be quite calm about it because they don't feel that guilt. The majority of people will feel guilt. So the majority of people will feel the way you feel because you know it's wrong, you feel it. Whereas those individuals with those tendencies, they don't care.
What about a situation that you lied your way through where someone believed you? Is there a situation like that in the last 3 to 5 years where you lied about something you're not proud of maybe, or that people believed you, and more than just, I'm having a good day, lie?
You know what I did? I could probably confess to this. This was so long ago. It was back in the day, I got a money order from
Western Union?
the post office.
Post office?
And, I was like young, I was a kid, I wasn't making a lot of money, I was in college. And so I asked for a money order for like $3.99. I pay, I get it. And then as I'm leaving, I see $4.99. And I'm like, oh,
$100.
$100. And I took it. And to this day, I remember it bothered me.
Really?
Yeah, it bothered me.
Did it bother that you didn't tell the truth right then and say, hey, you guys gave
No,
me
I
too
took the
much?
money.
Yeah.
I took the money.
Did it bother you that you lied about
Statute
it?
of
or-
limitations, I think I'm okay. It expired. I took the money. It bothered me afterward because I knew it was wrong. I will tell you this one story. We went.
Did that come up in the Secret Service interview? Did you ever steal something like money when you were younger?
You know what I did lie about and did come up in my Secret Service interview? I'll tell you that. When I applied for the job, when I went to college, my parents, and I love my family, they weren't very supportive. They weren't very supportive of my decisions. My dad was a bit difficult. Like, they didn't really want me to go. And so when you apply for college, you need their paperwork, their tax paperwork. I needed aid. They couldn't afford it.
Right.
And so my dad was so upset with me, he wouldn't give me his tax paperwork.
To go to college?
Yeah. They didn't agree with my decisions because I was going to private school that they could not afford. And I was like, I'll figure it out on my own. But either way, and so I lied when I went to the school. I said, I can't get this tax paperwork. You know, the main person was there is like, well, you think you can't get aid. And so I went back to the school later on and I said, I'm not living at home. I'm alone. Can I get aid? I can't get access to this tax paperwork. And then I got aid. So I flat out, I lied. And I spilled the beans in my polygraph. I was like,
you told them this is what happened.
I said, I lied to get financial aid. Because I couldn't qualify for aid.
Right.
And so I was like, you know, they didn't care that. I was like, look, my dad, my mom, they won't give me their tax paperwork. They're so upset with me. They don't agree with my decision to go to this school, to do this. And they're like, no, unless you don't have your parents in your life. And I was just like, bing! I was like, I'm going to college.
Yeah.
And I lied, but in my polygraph, I was like, I have to tell you something. Actually, I said it before they hooked me up. And I said, look, I lied about this. I did this, you know, like, why did you do it? I was like, I wanted to go to college. I couldn't get money to go to school. So I was okay, I got the job.
Wow. How many things did you confess to before you took the polygraph?
That was my biggest thing.
Yeah.
That was my thing. Drugs, like despite growing up in New York, I never had any issues. I always stayed away from it, I think because I saw so much around it, of that around me. And the more people kind of put it in my face, the more I was kind of like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But probably would have been the opposite. If nobody did it, I'd be the one to be like, oh, I'm going to try this. I think that was the biggest thing. It weighed the heaviest with me because I was like, I did this bad thing. I lied on my financial aid paperwork to get aid. I'm hoping the statute of limitations is expired on that as well. I paid back all my loans.
I'm sure it's fine, yeah.
I paid back all my loans.
When you're in an interrogation or an interview, or you're on a first date, or you're at a job interview in your career, or any type of first interview in any situation, what's the best way to build command, authority, and credibility?
Yeah. So you can do very simple things like when you greet someone, hi, how are you? Come on in. Why don't you use the bathroom before we get started? So I'm not asking you, would you like to use the bathroom? I'm telling you, why don't you go use the bathroom? Why don't you have something to drink? What can I bring you? Right? So I'm in this subtle way, I'm telling you to go to the bathroom and you're going to go because of the way I said it. Why don't you go to the bathroom? No, go before we get started. Right? You just said authority. Why don't you have something to drink? Oh, no, I'm good. No, have something to drink. Yeah. So we're going
to be here for a little bit. Have something to drink.
So now I'm planting these little seeds telling you I'm in control. I'm not telling you, but I'm doing it subtly. Have a seat there. You know, you can show me where to sit. Or on the flip side, you could also practice something called autonomy, where you let somebody choose their own seat. And that's a different tactic. So there's two tactics here.
Where would you like to sit? Yeah.
Where would you like to sit? So you may use that on me if you want to talk about a topic that I don't want to talk about. And so autonomy makes me feel like I have a choice. You let me choose where I'm going to sit because you're going to let me have it later. You're going to try to push me on something later. So
I gave you something now. The law of reciprocity means you give me something later.
Exactly. But also autonomy, though, it's actually also not reciprocity. It's actually more of I feel in control. Because we don't like to feel like we're not in control. So if you want to talk about something where I'm really uncomfortable, I don't feel like I'm in control, I will give you control elsewhere. So I will give you control in picking where you want to meet. I will give you control in what time. I will give you control in where you want to sit. Little things like that you can do where that person has autonomy to choose. We can do it here. We can talk about this or we can talk about this. Which would you prefer? That's, nobody likes to feel like they don't have control. So a way that you can deal with a resistant person is by giving them some level of control.
Everybody, one way or another, is going to do something accidentally or on purpose that's going to hurt your feelings. We're gonna interpret it as negative the vast majority of the time.
Yeah.
When in fact it was probably a complete accident. There's a really good chance they got no idea they hurt your feelings.
Right.